Hello everybody, welcome to Also Rusty Bucket. Subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed today's video and also drop a like to help it perform better in the YouTube algorithm. Let's talk about Draymond Green versus Jordan Poole. So, let's open before with the actual press release. There was a press release about some sort of internal conflict between Jordan Poole and Draymond Green. It was immediately noteworthy that it was said that Draymond Green hit Jordan Poole, and apparently the allegation was that Jordan Poole said something to set people off. And eventually there was also a bunch of reports coming out about how Jordan Poole, like Warriors players, had taken exception to his attitude recently because it seems as though he's become more arrogant, and it's, talking about the extension he has coming up and things like that. And then the actual video released. And this is the case of something like, you hear about it and it sounds bad, but you see the video, you actually see it with your own two eyes, and you're like, damn, this is really bad. TMZ released the footage. Someone in the Golden State Warriors facility released the footage somewhere. Probably made a hefty chunk of change in doing so. And a lot of the talk has been focused on that particular person, whoever it may be. And while it's definitely not a good thing that such footage would get leaked internally, and it's not a good look for the Warriors as a whole, I will say it's weird that that has become so much of a focus of the story, because ultimately what the footage displays is Jordan Poole just kind of standing there. Presumably he's saying some shit. Can't really tell. His body language is not like he's like extremely expressive. He's just standing there. And then Draymond Green walks up to him, gets in his face. Jordan Poole does what anyone would do if someone gets right in your face and pushes him. So anyone claiming that Jordan Poole was in the wrong for that, no, if you get in my face, I'm going to push you back no matter who the fuck you are. Unless it's like, if it was Mike Tyson, get in my face if you want, I'm not going to protest. But then Draymond swings, and it connects, and it was a big fucking punch. So this is very concerning, because it's not as though it was something like, maybe because we didn't actually see the footage, maybe it was a better situation. But the thing that immediately people compare it to, those who at least remember it, because it wasn't as big of a story as it would have been if it was like a contending team. Bobby Portis punching Nikola Mirotic. He ended up getting suspended just like, I believe, 10 games or so for it. And Mirotic ended up getting, I think he fractured his jaw even. And that ended up ironically, because of the suspension from Bobby Portis and Nikola Mirotic getting hurt, it opened up opportunity for Lauri Markkanen to start immediately in his rookie year, which people didn't quite expect to happen. Anyways, that was a situation that ultimately didn't end up being that big of a deal, but also we're talking about Bobby Portis and Nikola Mirotic, two players who ultimately are not too consequential to a franchise's success. Meanwhile, Jordan Poole is the future of the Warriors, and Draymond Green is a huge part of the current Warriors, even if he is getting up there in age. So this is really concerning for what it means for the Warriors going forward, for what it means for the Warriors in the long term. There's been a lot of talk about how the story got spinned so much against Jordan Poole initially, which almost makes it appear as though the Warriors internally have some sort of conflict between Jordan Poole versus the vets, which I always thought there was a possibility that the youth versus the more established older guys might end up having a little bit of conflict, especially as the contract situation comes around, which is something that I don't believe enough people are talking about, and I plan on making a main channel video about, because contract stuff can actually cause some internal conflict when it's like someone's got to get paid, and it can't be everyone. The Warriors are in that situation right now where not everybody is going to be getting a huge contract, and maybe Jordan Poole is talking shit to Draymond Green. Draymond Green has an extension coming up. It appears like Jordan Poole is going to gobble up all that money, and Draymond Green takes exception to that. That said, Steve Kerr and Steph Curry also apparently corroborated that Jordan Poole didn't say anything even close to worthy of fists being thrown, which, first of all, I have a pretty high bar for I will allow you to throw fists like in response to something that someone says. Someone has to say something pretty fucked up for me to think it's justified for it to become then a physical altercation. And according to them, that was not the case. So it's very weird the way this was reported initially. Either way, what does it mean for the Warriors going into this season? Because a lot of people, and not just people, and more importantly here, players, and I don't like the argument that like players inherently know more or inherently have better takes, because you have, the Kendrick Perkins and Ryan Hollins of the world, Gilbert Arenas saying Giannis hasn't improved since entering the league. Doesn't know how to train his body. Like, sometimes players are stupid and wrong, just like regular people are often, and usually more often, stupid and wrong. But in this instance, players do know more than a fucking writer does about what locker room dynamics are. And there were a lot of different people. Evan Fournier, Isaiah Thomas are the two ones that stand out to me. There were others, I just can't remember their names, who it was, that were saying, like, not a particularly easy thing to recover from, and making it very clear that this is not a normal thing. The other thing that people refer to was Michael Jordan punching Steve Kerr, but it's like, I saw someone make a tweet that's like, well, Mike was averaging 30, and Draymond Green is very much not doing that. People also making jokes about how if Draymond punched Steph, he'd be overseas tomorrow. Some validity to that, and there's some pretty good humor to come from this. But if you're a Warriors fan, you should be genuinely concerned, because internal conflict and bad chemistry can really override good talent. That's what's important here. The Warriors are a very, very talented roster, and if all went well, they would be very much poised to be in position to repeat as champions, as difficult as that is. But at the same time, if that chemistry is really going to derail things, and the Warriors are a team that is so functionally based on chemistry, and they historically always have been, that's going to be a problem for everybody. Not even just Jordan Poole and Draymond Green, but it's going to affect the dynamics of the entire team. If you have some awkward, these two players hate each other thing, that spreads out into the entire locker room, and now nobody's having fun, and we're just showing up to work. And that is definitely not ideal for winning. It's possible to win while nobody likes each other. The 90s Bulls infamously did it because apparently Dennis Rodman never talked to Mike and Pippen. And Mike and Pippen obviously have the beef that they do these days. But either way, and also like role players would talk about fearing Michael Jordan or whatever, but they would at least fucking win. But, generally speaking, chemistry being derailed like that has dire consequences. I mean, the most obvious thing to look at right now has to be the Brooklyn Nets. The way that the James Harden versus Kyrie beef led to just eventually James Harden leaving, the Ben Simmons trade, and then the whole team, basically they've been out of whack ever since they've been formed, because they also just simply haven't been on the floor together to form chemistry. So chemistry is an important aspect of basketball. That was the whole thing that everyone was saying about the 2020 Miami Heat when they ended up going to the finals. It was like, the chemistry and the hard work and the culture and all of that, it is overcoming the fact that the Heat are a less talented team than some of the teams in front of them. The Heat were beating teams more talented than them simply because they had the chemistry. And the Warriors are a team that has had both the talent and a crazy amount of chemistry. And that's always what led them to their crazy amount of success. But if you lose one half of that pie, suddenly the Warriors aren't so scary. So you gotta hope there's a way that this can be made up for. I gotta say, someone fucking sucker punches me like that, it's gonna be a while before I'm cool with that dude again. But that's up to Jordan Poole. Draymond Green is entirely the one in the wrong here, and not Jordan Poole. Even if Jordan Poole has been a little bit arrogant and making some shitty comments, it's not the same as fucking decking somebody. So, yeah, messy situation to say the least. Those are my thoughts on it, and that is it. Goodbye.